le kwae eo ya hao mfethu ne kwae eo ya hao nkauza eo ya hao e tlo kenya mathateng. Kingdoms have fallen because of kwae e leng hore e nahana on its own. O na le kwae da, o na le ngqondo da, kwae e na le ngqondo ya yone, le wena ka o na le ngqondo ya hao. This one e affecta early. Once it triggerile early, then what happens is that e hana control anymore. E vele re ke batlo kenya ko mbobong e ke bona. There we go. These are unfiltered truths. And I have to say these things as much as it pains me. And I don't know how my kids are going to view this thing one day. But it pains me because going through the stats, going through what I'm seeing, going through ko di robotong ke bona dintwana begging, ke bona ma old lady a plommeling or say 2, say 3 begging for food. When I hear the stories of these guys or what's happening, I mean, there are 2 guys I'm going to chat to hopefully before Friday. And these guys they're young. They've been begging at the same corners for the last 3, 4 years, 5 years since I've been going through that same intersections. And I've said go and speak to them about where they come from and what happened to them. And I can almost 100% bet you that if the father was present, if the father was active, whether you're poor or not as a man, be present. Teach your child and say, Ntwana, don't make the mistakes I've made. I've made money, I've lost money because of the cherry, because of what, because of what bujoala, because of the drugs, because of what. Ntwana, skaya da. Ntwana, utsogai, Ntwana. Ntwana, utsogai. Ntwana, why are you coming home late? Ntwana, why are you drunk? Why are your eyes like that, Ntwana? Ntwana, why are you doing this? Even if you are a broke dad, you must still be a present dad. And your kids must not undermine you because you have made it about money. No, it's not about money. It's about being there. Hola, Shabuzet. Are you good? Hey, Taraso. Good morning. Welcome to it. Another episode of the Free Ride podcast. I'm back once again. Thank you very much to everybody who's been liking, sharing, and of course, subscribing to the channel. And I've been seeing so many of you commenting, engaging, liking, sharing. And I thank you very much for the engagement. The last video, of course, I spoke about ESCOM and the big problems that are happening there. I've seen your comments. I really appreciate them. And thank you very much to all the other episodes where you guys have engaged, be it on Twitter, be it on TikTok, be it on Facebook, on YouTube. I really do follow and see exactly what you guys have to say. So I do by all means try and respond to as many of you as possible. Okay, so today my conversation is going to be something that is very close to my heart. And before I get there, I want to remind you that this weekend, the 24th of September, we're going to be all wearing our traditional outfits. We're all going to be celebrating the 24th of September, which is Heritage Day. Many of you will be remembering where you come from, your culture, your tradition. You'll be wearing even outfits that resemble and reflect who you are and where you come from. So my conversations today that I wanted to share with you is on 2 issues. One of them is the fact that we as men need to be a little bit more responsible because we are the heads. We are the heads of the homes. We are the head. We have the necks that control us, which is our partners, our wives, our girlfriends. And that's if you are a straight man. And I'm not going to be judgmental if you're not. It is your business. But I want to speak to men who have children who are fathers or absent fathers, okay? So it turns out that according to a report that was released, and you'll check the stats as I go along, I'll share some information as I have been. It's something that came and really just, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because I started realizing, Jorge, the majority of the problems that are in our country are self-inflicted because many of us as men, we were not responsible enough to become responsible fathers, to become responsible dads, to become mataima eleng gore are present in their children's lives. Okay, so it turns out that 70% of black children live without their biological dads. 70%, all right? So this number was okay for it to be this big back in the day when our grandfathers were forced out of Komagayeng from the homelands, were pushed into cities to work in the mines of Durban Roodepoort Deep Mine, work in all the different mines around Joburg, Gauteng, the East Rand, and were forced to leave the rural areas to come and become laborers in Joburg and Gauteng, were forced to leave their farms and their families and wives. Back then, it was understandable because it was apartheid, it was colonialism, and all sorts of wrongs that were happening at the time. But in 2022, it cannot be that many of us as Machita, as gents, we continue to sow seeds, raplanta nje, in the farms that don't belong to us. And we leave those seeds to grow on their own. We leave the children to just be growing on their own, or we leave women to take care of these kids alone. It's also not fair that you as a father can go and leave children and then you expect that grandparents of the woman to raise the children ka a grant that is almost 1,800, 1,900, maybe 2,000 to raise 2 or 3 other children. It cannot be. It cannot be. As a gent, I thought, let me just talk from a cheetah point of view, from a gent point of view. Ke bue le machita ke re bafowethu ntloelang daddy. And let me tell you, children are going to curse you like many of us cursed our parents. And I'm sure you grew up without a father and you know the pains of growing up without a dad. You know. That shit is painful, dog. It's painful. It's painful because you go through sorts of emotions as a guy. Because especially if you were privileged or you were lucky to go to a multiracial school, and then you go there, you find that white kids, colored kids, their parents drop them off at school. The time during the day, he's coming to watch a kid play sport. You are there, you are performing, you have no support. Your mother is not there, your dad is not there. And that shit is painful, dog. That time you're a high achiever, you're doing well at school, academically, you're trying to focus, you're trying to be a good kid, good son. And then another time, little shout and say, time, Ntwana, continue, Mvana, go, Ntwana, go, boy. And that thing can psychologically mess you up. And it messes so many of us up. I am partly to blame. Not to blame, but I have also been part of, people who grew up without their dads, and I know how painful it is. And I've got friends, Machita Longore, I grew up with. I could see their behavioral patterns, my cousins, their behavioral patterns, because our fathers were not absent. I was lucky, so were some of my friends who were lucky that we did not turn out to be the bad guys that some of our friends turned out to be. Because some of them, and I mean, I remember there was a time, and 2 of them they've passed on. One of them was my cousin. One of them was one of my great friends, one of the best soccer players I've ever played with. This guy was like an Iniesta. Masire was his name. Masire was an untouchable footballer who was absolutely amazing. Okay. And I could see that how all of this had an impact in many of us who did not have present fathers. Our fathers were not there to reprimand us. Our fathers were not there to teach us. Our fathers were not there to teach us how to shave, how to be clean, how to take care of your body, how to take care of yourself. They didn't teach us these things. They didn't teach us, so one day, ne? Skamakala 4-5 what's going on. You don't understand these emotions. You learn them in the streets, and the streets are a dangerous place to teach a child. You end up doing things you shouldn't be doing at the ages of like 12, 13, 14, because there's no dad who's there to teach you, to explain to you what is happening to your body as a son. And I saw so many of these guys enter the world of crime. And these two peeps I speak about, they continued with a life of crime. I was fortunate that my mother was a whooper. She whooped me. She was like, nigga, you ain't going down that route. And I was lucky that there were some other guys by Longhore I grew up seeing, and I looked up to them from a distance. And I was like, hey, my kids are there, you know? And these were things that inspired me from a distance. But it was still very difficult knowing that my dad is there, he's alive, but he's not present. And it fucked with me. And it's the situation, if you go and find out from many of the guys who are in jail today, many of the guys who commit crime, many of the guys who have become absent fathers, many of them, you find that they were hurt. And they say that hurt people hurt people. And let me tell you, the majority of the crime that we see today in our country, go and see the Ndwana tsa Nyaope, go and see the drug addicts, go and see the gangsters and gangsterism, the killings that's happening in El Dorado Park. Every day, there's kids who are being gunned down, kids who carry guns, kids who join gangsterism. Go to Westbury, New Clare, go to all these other gangsterism-ridden places. You find that all these kids had no absent father, had an absent father, had no present fathers. So we have a serious problem. I'll come back to the problems. I also want to send a shout out to the men who stand up. And I've got some research which I'm going to share with you, and appreciate the guys from these provinces. Mpumalanga, Gauteng province, Limpopo, Western Cape. There's a much higher number of percentage of those of you who are fathers who are present. And what does it mean to be a present father? A present father does not mean, Hore, you must pay your maintenance and just pay money and then you are not necessarily available or present. A present father needs to be a guy that lives with their children or child, even if things do not work out with your baby mama. And I know that we are going to come up with so many excuses under the sun. Oh, no, my baby mama, you know, da da da. Look, I understand that there are problems. And of course, there are some guys who could not resolve these issues because of baby mama drama. And because they, you know, divorced or they separated and they could not take the children with them to the next relationship. And the next relationship, the mother was like, no, I don't want anything to do with the baby mama drama and the kids, right? But shout out to women who accept babaring by mani, or shout out to the niggas by mani. They take the woman with the kids and then they say, "Re tla ba godisa as our own." And shout out to the stepdads who step up, man. Who step up. Big ups and shout out to you, man. We need people like you. If we as men stand up by resolving our immediate issues that we can solve, right? Our immediate problems that we have created. The immediate problems we have created are that we love to fuck around, right? We love to just shag. We love to rata maezi, rata marajo, rata di cherry, you know? Many of us as machita. Because when we grow up, we have the urge, right? 13, 14, 15, 16, or tola cherry, koshankauza, you know, and then from there, we encourage you, or Ntwana, Ntwana, also shine causa, Ntwana, Ntwana, also shine causa. Usandana really vision, Ntwana, upari mos, Ntwana, upari. Then the next thing, you like, tshwantse ke thole cherry, tshwantse ke thole cherry, tshwantse ke shine causa. After to shine causa, you go back, hey, Ntwana, ke shaileng causa. Yo, o shaileng causa, Ntwana. Ya, ke shaile bona, ke shaile ngwanole, ke shaile ngwanole, ke shaile ngwanole, ke shaile ngwanole. Then the next thing, it's the habit we start developing as machita from a very young age. So we start this habit of collecting trophies of women we've shagged. I've shagged that one, I've shagged that one, we've shagged that one, and then the next thing, yeah, border. Oh, ukauthi ngwanole, ukauthi Loreto, ukauthi Pula, ukauthi Mangmang. Oh, then from there, we it's accolades, street cred that you think you're getting from shagging all these chicks. And of course, sometimes it's fun because you're young and you're stupid and all of that stuff. But some gents, we're carrying it into our adulthood and we don't know where to stop. Then you get niggas who started very late. When they were young, in their teens, they were ugly ducklings. They could not find chicks. They had no swag. They had no money. Now they could not even. Cherry, ba ishele, ba ringele hore mnate, ngwana qale, a tlale ka pari, and then the next thing, kaosane 2 days later, 3 days later, shankauza, onto himbu, ublella machita, or Ntwana. So those niggas started late. Those niggas started in their 20s when they finished varsity, especially some of those guys who didn't really have the looks, who didn't really have the swag, who didn't really have the money, nyugu kwabone or something, to make sure they've got something over cherry. There was no money, there was no nothing like that. What we had was swag, was swag. Look, I'm not proud of it, but I'm telling you like it is. Because and I'm saying let's become better fathers today. But this is a culture that we've adopted over time. Some of you, there's too many, plenty women. There's too many chicks. Too much. You go qualify, get your first job, get your GTI, get a Polo, get a BM, get a Mercedes. You go back to varsity. We lo tshela thupa. Leja bana ba la ba qeta la baja. Bana ba batho ba drop out first year, second year they drop out. Ba boela ko magaeng, they become mothers. And then for them, it's downward spiral. Uthola utabi two, poor child now, or there's a guy who's going to save me now. That guy's going to leave her with a second child and a third child. Go and look at the stats and look at the teenage pregnancy that is happening in our country at the moment. Go and look at the number of school dropouts. Go and look at the number of varsity dropouts, first year dropouts. Go all the universities and go and see how young girls are at the mercy of niggas who could not shag them, shag the chicks, ko varsity, ko high school, because the guys who were older used to shag those chicks and you are like 17, 16, girls your age, they are out of school, they come back, when I you can't even make these chicks. And these chicks are like, no, Ndwana, you are not my type. Naki Jolal Makhrut Mania, how? I mean, we all went through all of that stuff. And so this whole cycle of a high sexual drive in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, this high sexual drive that we have has created so much problems for us, especially as a black nation. We have created more children, unplanned children, unplanned, because we're not rato shankaos. Why? It's created so many unborn children who had to die, who had to be, had to die because the parents, the mothers did not want these kids because and then half this girl are pregnant. So I'm not saying that this video is going to stop what has been happening for generations. It's not. It's not for that purpose. I'm just saying that those of you who have cleaned up your act, maybe you stopped messing around, maybe you stopped sleeping around with all these chicks without a condom, maybe you stopped pretty much collecting trophies. And and of course, this video is also aimed to educate the cherry as well. So that don't just any guy, otlang, ale smart, they dress nicely, say nice things, and then Luena, you are desperate for relationship, and then boom, omokadiko, omokaya nje ore. Shaya mfowethu, shaya. O batla gape ngand, o batla gape tsa. I'll guide clipanyana, 2 clipanyana, 3 clipanyana, 4 clipanyana, maybe 10,000, maybe 20,000. That time, this nigga moves on. And let me tell you, ladies, so some guys, budget they're a bit deeper. So to them, how feel 10,000, 20,000, it actually means nothing to them. Where now it might mean the world to you. But you got to think about your body. You got to think about the child that you're going to bring into this earth and the psychological effects that it's going to have on these kids. So if you look at all these kids who were born in the last 10, 15, 20 years who are fatherless, if you look at the amount of children who are prostitutes, who are drug addicts, who are in prison, who have created all sorts of heinous crime, you find that at the source of it all is that there were no two present parents, particularly a father not being present. So if the father is not present, it has a psychological effect on this child. They go out looking for a father out in the streets. They go out selling themselves because there are economic issues in their household. So, gents, think about it. Think about it. Shout out to the niggas who actually step up. I don't want to mention their names, but I know so many guys who stepped up. And ever since I've become a dad, I've got 3 kids. I've got a daughter who's 19 years old, a daughter who's 16 years old, and a son who is 11 years old, all with one wife, right? One woman. My wife and I have been together for 20 years, right? And let me tell you, I'm not the perfect man. I'm not the perfect husband. I am not a perfect dad. I'm far from it. I am not Jesus Christ. None of us are. None of us are perfect. I have my own faults. But I can tell you one thing I did when I became a father. I said to myself, Gerindwana, the time has come. The time has come. The time has come. The time has come. Now you've got the biggest responsibility on the planet. You have been blessed with the most amazing blessing on the planet. You and your partner have created a human being. A human being. Imagine being able to create a human being. You can make a cup. You can make a pen. You can make a phone. A child? Yo, dog, that's the biggest thing ever to be made. That's why I glorify women and I love women and I have the most amazing respect for women. I was raised by a single mom who did an amazing job on her own, and I salute and I still praise the earth that my mother walks on, as well as my wife, because I call them mini gods because they create human beings. We can come with our little things and sperm it up, fertilize the egg. They have to bake that egg, carry that thing, carry that child, deliver that child. 9 months. I mean, I was fortunate that I was present to see all three of my kids grow in her stomach. Watch the scans every time. Check up, drop everything. Baby, check up. Okay, kyazwakala. Kimla. Kum. Get out. Check up. Get how. Kisken. Kingosyaka. Ha. Ha. It's my baby. Sancha. Ashley. Zach. Oh my God. All of them. And that was the most amazing. Most amazing. And what I did was I always tried to encourage all my friends and all the young people that come be after me. It's not the first time that I do this. Okay. It's probably the first time on video that I do this on the show, particularly to talk about what I'm talking about. But anyone who knows me, the niggas who grew up with me, they'll tell you, Jorge, I always encourage niggas to settle down when they found the right woman, to settle down when they have made and produced their first child. How se tswirile ngosi, settle down otiaka obera, because how sida, you are going to create problems for yourself. Your life will never be the same. Yes, you can leave, create, but let me tell you, these kids, a child who does not have a father prays and says, God, why did you bring me to this bloody cuck earth? Why did you bring me to this earth? Why did my father have to walk away? Why can that bastard just get pass? Can that bastard just die? You know how many kids pray for their father's downfall? There's so many kids pray that their fathers don't become jack shit, because they are sitting there thinking, look where I am today. I don't know where that guy is. Or sometimes they know where these guys are. Ba mona feta daga GTI a tshwere bo mapebeza. Ba moni ko kae a le ko khong a jaiva baya mabotlolo da a tla a sparkela so. Ba moni a le hore ke DJ smangmang, ke soccer players smangmang. O vaile o shaileng ka o zatlola ngosi bona le time ko di newspapering, ko TV, ba re ke o leng tatao da. Ngosi tla ntse re o ka ra o tshie ka tlhokafala shapo ke pass, o ka re ka lose everything and on. And look how many kingdoms have fallen. Look how many kingdoms have fallen. Kingdoms have fallen because a lot of kids are on their knees praying, shedding their tears, man, crying. Or where's my father? Where's my dad? Why did that guy have to leave? Why did that man have to go? And I want to urge you, gents, that you need to break that generational curse, right? Break that generational curse. We are never going to be perfect. We are not Christ. We are not Muhammad. We are not Buddha. We are not the most perfect human beings. We are far from it. No one is perfect. But you can definitely try to be a better man. You can definitely try to be a better dad. You can definitely be a better father. If you don't try to be a better father, it does not matter what you achieve. You've got degrees, you have diplomas, you have masters, you have what, but you are a poor father. A poor father, dog. A pathetic father. Useless father. Nigga, how are you going to answer to God, man? How are you going to look God in the eye and say, I was successful in my medicine practice. I was successful as a doctor. But I was a poor father. I was bad at it. The responsibility that God has given you and you failed at it, nigga. How are you going to look him in the eye? There's still hope for you, though. There's still hope for you. Turn your ways around, dog. Turn your ways around. Those tears that fall from that child who prays for your downfall every day. Every day, you know, I wish my father was here. I wish my father could see how I was doing. I wish my dad could just hold me, hug me, love me. I wish my dad can just come and watch me play soccer. I wish my dad can just come and watch me do the most amazing things. I wish my dad can just come and support what I'm doing. I wish my dad could just see what a genius I am. I wish my dad can listen to the music that I create. I wish my dad can see how I can make, I've taken over some of his talents. If only that nigga could see. If only. Now, these kids say these things and they deposit them into the ether. They deposit all these pains, this cry, this wishfulness, and they deposit them into an auto-suggestion, they call them into being. They wish for all of that. And then they shed a tear in the end. And God hears them. God listens to them. You might not be a spiritual dude. That's okay. But let me tell you, it does not matter whether you are spiritual or not. It does not matter, because we are here, we were put here by somebody who knows better than all of us. So we call him God. You can call him whatever, right? And this person who put us here on this planet, who gave us a planet where we can breathe without suffocating, who did not put us on Mars, who did not put us on the sun, who did not put us on the moon. He put us on the earth, the most habitable planet for human beings out of all planets, according to smart people, researchers. He put us here so that we can drink water, we can breathe here. So there is somebody who's responsible for us. And that guy, he knew his plan, why he created a man, why he created a woman, why he wanted us to create other human beings and multiply. He knew why he wanted us to multiply. And if you don't take care of your child, that child is going to shed a tear and is going to wish the worst upon your life. They are going to pray over you for your downfall, dog. And go and look at all those people, all those niggas who had fame and fortune, and they went around and they were fuckboys and they were fucking everything they found. And then they have all these hanger-ons. And all these hanger-ons, I know this because I went through that shit, man. I went through that stage in my younger days. I know what I'm talking about. Because I'm trying to teach some of you who are like 18, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, the younger cats, right? Don't do it. And if you think your high life is going to last forever, it does not. All the kings who had all the material wealth, they lost it all. When they died with it. Most generations did not carry on with it. And many of them have lost their riches and they were alive to see their riches fall. So don't think that because you've got this decent, amazing job, you've got this beautiful, powerful Audi or BMW or Mercedes or whatever cars, or you can pop bottles or whatever, that it's going to last. And all I'm saying is that take care of the small kids' business. Be present. Be present. Let them not. Kibone ba eleng hore ba o lawyer. Kibone, they're the biggest ones by eleng hore they wish the worst upon you. So if you don't become a great dad, you're going to suffer. And why is it that the majority of us who are black are the ones that are the worst? We're worse than colored people. We're worse than Indian people. We're worse than white people. Before I could understand and say, yeah, okay, white people, it makes sense. I mean, they didn't suffer the same fate as we did. But it's been like 27 years since our democracy. So like, it's unexplainable, this thing. Like it should really come to an end. So I decided that I'm going to talk about it. So I don't know how you're going to respond to it. I don't know what you're going to think about it. And I'd like to hear your thoughts. Say whatever you want to say. I'll read them, I'll laugh at them, and I'll respond to them. But how sa control kwa eo ya hao mfethu ne? Kwa eo ya hao. Nkauza eo ya hao. E tlo kenya mathateng. Kingdoms have fallen because of kwai. Kwai e leng hore e nahana on its own. O na le kwai da, o na le ngqondo da. Kwai e na le ngqondo ya yone, le wena ka o na le ngqondo ya hao. This one, e affecta early. Once it triggerile early, then what happens is that e hana control anymore. There we go. These are unfiltered truths. And I have to say these things as much as it pains me. And I don't know how my kids are going to view this thing one day. But it pains me because going through the stats, going through what I'm seeing, going through Kodi Roboton, ke bona dintwana begging, ke bona ma old lady a plommeling or say 2, say 3, begging for food. When I hear the stories of these guys or what's happening, I mean, there are 2 guys I'm going to chat to hopefully before Friday. And these guys they're young. They've been begging at the same corners for the last 3, 4 years, 5 years since I've been going through that same intersections. And I've said go and speak to them about where they come from and what happened to them. And I can almost 100% bet you that if the father was present, if the father was active, whether you're poor or not as a man, be present. Teach your child and say, don't make the mistakes I've made. I've made money, I've lost money because of the cherry, because of what, because of what bujwala, because of the drugs, because of what. Ndwana skaya da. Ndwana utsogai ndwana. Ndwana utsogai. Ndwana, why are you coming home late? Ndwana, why are you drunk? Why are your eyes like that, Ndwana? Ndwana, why are you doing this? Even if you are a broke dad, you must still be a present dad. And your kids must not undermine you because you have made it about money. No, it's not about money. It's about being there to show them that you love them, to show them that you care, to show them that you support them. And I want to also advise you guys that try and read to your kids. Maybe you don't read to them. Try and listen to them read to you. Maybe you don't do that. Try and play with them. And by this, I mean, go to the park, go to iJump, go to a botanical garden, go to a decent park, just as much as you can make a plan to go to a tavern. To buy everybody alcohol. Ball with your kids, dog. Ball with your kids. Make more time for them. And I think I want to say this in closing, is that sadly, I've seen a lot of black parents in their late 70s, 60s. Many of them are so alone, especially the fathers. They are so alone. Some of them are sick. Some of them are walking the streets. Some of them are like begging in the streets. Some of them are old and alone. Okay, thank God to our ANC government who is giving them pensions, those who are retired and old and deserving. And that pension money makes a huge difference. But so many of them are alone. And if you look at why they are so alone, it's because they have lost time to spend with their kids when their kids were young. And when you go and look at white kids and their parents and their grandparents, it's a completely different story. And you find that white children, as much as they might not stay with their grandparents or parents, they'll send them to an old age home, and then they will visit and they will take the grandkids there. They will show more love, more affection. They'll be more present. And with us as Black people, like, we have neglected our elders because they neglected us when they were younger. And let me tell you this thing, man, and I'm telling you for free because it's something I practice. I have been, from day one, day zero, before my kids were even born, I was there. I used to talk to my wife's stomach and tell them stories and say, when you grow up, don't worry, I got you. Don't worry, I'm going to be there, man. Don't worry, I'm going to be there. When they were born, I made sure that I was there. I cut the umbilical cords of all my 3 kids. I saw all 3 of them being born. Ever since then, I was like, yo, man, anyone who knows me knows how much I am crazy about my kids, how much I love being a father. Like, I think being a father, more than anything, any material stuff. And then I come from poverty. I'm a poor Black man, right? Come from poverty. Kgoletse ko mekhukhung, kgoletse ko dipolaseng tsa maburu. My mother was a domestic worker. Like, there was a time I idolized material stuff. And then when I got kids, then I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that having kids would be so beautiful. Having children would be so amazing. These little people, they wake up, they look at you, they smile, and my heart just melts. They say, Dad, pick me up. When they pick you up, they hold you with their little hands like this, and then they hug you. And if you are conscious, you can even hear their heartbeat. You can feel their heartbeat next to yours. It's the most amazing feeling, dog. Most amazing feeling. When they look at you and they know that they lift their hands up to you. Where now you just go down, you're like mini God. You're like a God. You go down like that, and they go up like this. They're like, I'm ready to be lifted. Lord, lift me up, Father. It's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling. And dads who are responsible, present dads, know what I'm talking about, right? They know what I'm talking about. I've changed nappies. I've lost count how many nappies I've changed. I've had shit all over my hands changing a nappy. After that, no right change, but the last one. The last nappy. Those motherfucker shits on a nappy. The last one, dog, and your hands are full of it, your pants are full of it, the kobo are full of shit. But I will never change that for a minute. Never change that for a minute. Never change those feelings. I remember moments where I've had to go buy some NAN or S28 gold milk, going from Karachi to Karachi Haina S28. Those of you who are going through that process will know that S28 is not cheap, yo. Oh, that milk is not cheap, dog. But of course, it's cheaper than whiskey. It's damn cheaper than a bottle of Johnny Walker Black. It's cheaper than a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue. It's cheaper than any expensive bottle of whiskey that you can just drink right? I remember going from garage to garage, man, looking for milk, looking for nappies, buying nappies, small packet of nappies because raising kids, man. raising kids is one of the most amazing feelings ever. So big ups and shout out to those of you who are present dads who take care of your business, man. And let me tell you, once again, I'm gonna repeat myself. Skaflop, Antoine. Skaflop, Antoine. Skaflop, Antoine. Skaflopa. Do not neglect being a parent. It's the biggest mistake you'll ever make. Biggest. Do not neglect your child. Do not neglect your children. You can neglect paying off your 5,000 Rand a month car, your loan. You can neglect some of the other shit, right? Pleasing friends. In your 20s, 30s, you're all about pleasing other people. All about, look at me. Okay, maybe no khonale magrot mana lengore my age group 44 re chase 50 re shebile 50 da re wa bona da shebile 50 da wa bona da ke 50 da. Some of the niggas ke khone ba ban le nyoko no abo khone ba ba mnate no khone ba lengore khone ba tsogano khone ba lengore ba di jaja no khone ba lengore is new money no ba qhoma bo ba mpola no ba bona go ditlapong ba bona go di kae ba bona go menateng ba bona go kae ba na le ditšhere tse nyane ba bambile bo ba le ko diboutung ba ja joy bana ba bone ba sotlegile ko Mpumalanga ko Northwest ba tlogetse bana ba i5 ko Mpumalanga ba tlogetse 3 mo Gauteng ba na le 2. Don't do it. No, skapa. So shout out to the niggas who are taking care of their business. Shout out to the niggas who are taking care of their children. Shout out. I want to appreciate you. And I want to say that continue to be a great father. Change that generational curse. Break the generational curse. Break the chain. Break it. And I'm telling you, you're going to live a healthier life, a better life. You're going to be sharp in your mind. You're going to be happier because una le fro le bana. And that's if for tote fro we sharp. That's if for tote media grand. And that's another thing. Tola fro e grand. Tola tigine sharp. Skaya ko minating obore ubambile bana bantu imbuda bonano re thotse msadi da. And I'm not saying all chicks who go to fun places are not wife material. All the niggas that I know that are my friends that are married, they knew when they found a wife. They knew. All the guys that I know, all of them. And I love them to bits, man. I appreciate these niggas because they are sharp niggas. We all decided to, okay, luckily we started young. When we found the right woman, we're like, yeah. Outing me kancane ngimtholile. And then when you get that woman, you take care of that woman. You love her, you protect her, you take care of her. She will take care of you. And if you don't do those things, when you get to your 60s and your 50s, you're going to be all alone. All alone. Your 70s, you're going to be all alone. I met a couple that survived the World War II. They're going to be my guest. I'm going to speak to them about longevity and relationships quite soon. But I've seen the trend. When you mess it up and you're all alone, you don't even have longevity. When you're going to get sick, you're going to get cancer, high blood, you're going to have all these other diseases that come with age. And when you do them and you go through that all alone, it's the most painful thing ever. So With that said, Bafwetu, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching to anyone. Today's episode is purely focused on fatherhood. It's purely focused on getting that thing right. I get it, just like you go and study to become a professional in whatever field that you're doing, with no disrespect to an education that you've got. No disrespect to you being a doctor, an accountant, to being whatever profession that you have. If you do not master that profession of being a father, of being a hands-on, responsible, present, playful, caring, loving father, then you are failing. You are failing us, you are failing the society, and that's why South Africa is in so much shit. That's why we have more than 16 million people who are depending on grants. And at least about 70% of them are child grants. Grants where parents are not present for whatever reason. And number one of those reasons is that fathers are not present and they are not taking care of them. Grandparents must raise these children because fathers have gone. So this message is for the young ones, for Machita, who come after me, as Legroot Mani on the Free Ride podcast. I am free to do this thing, to talk to you, because you are a free-minded person. And you can take a look at all the videos I've done, is that they have all been intentional in messaging, in how I plan to just share content, share information. For those of you who did not have my Groot Mani, Alongarao Khabudis, those of you who don't have older brothers or big brothers who can teach you and say, Ndwana, skaflop, Antwana, ska. So I hope that this message will get through to you because it's intentional. And of course, if you're offended by it, then it's your problem. Deal with it. It means you are doing something wrong. It means you are doing something wrong and your body and your mind does not agree with it, because the truth is poking you. Or what you are doing is wrong. And that's why you have issues against my message today. And this message is not for popularity. And let me tell you, this podcast is not for popularity contest. It's not to be the most famous, because I am doing celebrities and doing all of these things. It's purely to share content. It's purely to teach the young ones. It's purely to khokhabudisa dintwana. Dintwana tse leng hore I don't have the time anymore to sit le ntwana tse 2 or 3 ko khoneng ke re ntwana kwena mang tlhaga kae ntwana sharp is it ntwana, tell me about yourself ntwana, tell me how's it going ko sekolong ntwana, tshwarella ntwana, you know. And there's so many of these youngsters that I've been helping, and I say this in my messaging most of the time, is because I believe in mentorship. I believe in mentoring others, and I've been doing it. It's been my life. It's been my life of mentoring and helping and teaching and trying to do the little bit that I can to help and teach others. And others before me have helped me. 1 or 2 people have helped me, have come and said, Ndwana, I want. But it's not as many. I did not have as many mentors as I wish to have. But big ups to my Groot Mani Longore. They trained me when I was a soccer player. They were my coaches. They had a little bit of impact here and there. Big ups to my athletics coach. Big ups to my teachers at the point. Big ups to the Dos Santos family. The Dos Santos family were my biggest inspiration. And Tate Tony Dos Santos, he was a Portuguese man who comes all the way from Madeira and had married his wife, an English-speaking wife, and had 5 children with him. That guy was the first role model. And he didn't even like me because he was slightly racist. But he took me in. Crazy. And I looked up to him because I was like, this man, he wakes up and he grinds. He loves his family. He takes care of his 5 children. His last born was my best friend, is my best friend. And I speak about him, Edward. It was them that saved my life. It was them that showed me, it's possible. Hore, o be le ledlala, o be le dinqosi tsa hao, o hlalele tsone, o di nganywe, ha, o be le pool, o hlalele bona ko poolong, o hlalele bona ko ntle. That nigga, man. Shout out. May his soul rest in peace, Tony Dos Santos, for saving my life, for giving me that opportunity. A white man, a Portuguese man, who touched my life more than any other nigga, more than any other man, who was like a father figure. And of course, there were other small pockets of guys like I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to use this platform to be able to share as much content as possible, to share some of the mistakes I've made as a guy. And you might not like them. And I don't give a fuck whether you like it or not. But if you do like it, then I appreciate it. And if you say, Autiaga, continue got this content of sharing your knowledge, your experiences, and your views on an outlook on life because it touches me, it gets through to me, then, I appreciate that feedback. But if you're going to be negative, I'm not even going to give a fuck. Because when my dad walked out on me, it made me the hardest man ever. It made me tough. Because I was like, if that guy can walk, like how much more pain? Nothing can get through to me. Nothing. Because that pain alone hurt me so bad as a youngster. It hurt me. And I'm sure, Luena, your father hurt you when he walked out on you. And I'm sure that your father not being present, or he might have died, and may his soul rest in peace if he has died, right? Before you were born, or you did not meet him because he died, because he was away. And that killed you, and it hurt you. I could go on for another hour, but I think I'm going to stop here and say to you, Gerwafwetu, take care of your business, take care of your children, be more loving, be more caring, be more playful, and don't waste your 20s and your 30s fucking around, dropping seeds, dropping children everywhere, leaving children to be raised by women all alone. That shit is gonna catch up to you. Because but if I offend you, I'm sorry. Maybe you're a Christian, a Bible reading person. I also have my Bible, by the way. It's here. But I'm emotional right now because it's an emotional show today. Because the problems we have as a country is as a result of the men in this country for dropping the ball. The men of this country have dropped the ball. From the leadership all the way down. From the church to politics to business to the finance industry to every single sector you can think about. As men, we have dropped the ball. We have forgotten our core responsibility as a man, that it is our duty to raise our children and give them sufficient good nurturing backgrounds so that our children grow up in an environment that is great for kids to grow up in. South Africa has a negative past that is deeply painful to explain. And if we do not do anything constructive to fix and correct our wrongs around fatherhood, around our children, and fixing our future, which is our children, the next 15 years, next 20 years, the children who are young, who are without parents today, without fathers today, who are in the streets today, who are begging with their mothers in every street corner around Joburg, Go to every street, big multi intersections. You'll find a woman begging with a child on her back. You'll find children begging in the streets. You'll find children living in the streets. You'll find children hooked on drugs. You'll find children chilling, taking drugs, being hooked on drugs. You'll find children being gangsters in El Dorado Park. And men have just sat back and done absolutely nothing. Across the board, we were self-conceited about the cars we drive, the suits we wear, the houses we buy, the clothes and the smelling good, the alcohol we drink. An 18-year-old, 20-year-old, conceited about outer shit that goes. Imagine if the Pharaoh could lose all that gold. That Babylon, like kingdoms that were once revered, feared. They had all this wealth. It vanished. Gold, silver, land. They lost it all. So Rona, we became so materialistic about stupid stuff. And we've made those things our gods over and above our children. And we're going to lose them. They're all going to go. You are not going to take them with to the grave. I know a lot of rich men who died and they've left everything. Everything. They left it. All of these things. But the impact you've made on your children will live way longer. They are the ones that are going to protect the things that you've worked hard for, because you've given them straight, strong, good family values. You've given them values. They're going to carry your name. They're going to carry your name for generations to come. They're going to talk about you and say, grandfather, grandmother. Hey, just like those families where we know that they were a strong unit, the grandparents were strong, they taught their children great values, the kids carried their values, and for years to come, that family's name remained strong. Habari bakwa Mokoena, bakwa Vilagazi, bakwa Buthelezi, bakwa, because the values of the grandparents, the grandfather, has given to his children, imparted it into the great-grandchildren. And for years, those names have lived. All these other things, Paile PM, 500,000, 800,000. Nice. Congratulations, chap. 2 years down the line, its value has dropped. 3 years down the line, it's not even 100,000. It's a piece of shit after 4 years. Koloi eno e paka 800,000. And when I kolota bank bukai, so much more money. But that's a topic for another day, where I'm going to talk about how the banks are screwing you, screwing me. All right, I'm out.